Hello, hello, and welcome to Live with Nick Graffiti. Hi! I am so excited to be here with you and just kind of introduce you to myself and my studio. This is my first time ever live streaming, so there might be a little bit of a delay. I'm not sure how it works, but please feel free to ask me any questions that you might have in the chat. And yeah, I will be recording this. Well, I am recording this, so it will be going on my YouTube after this is over. So I'm hoping to chat on here for about an hour, and I really hope you enjoy it. This is something that I would like to do, once a month, twice a month, maybe even once a week, and just kind of get my YouTube channel going a little bit more. So yeah, anyway, this is my first time doing a live stream, so please bear with me. Hi, Noemi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. It's so good to see you here. I am super excited. So yes, what I wanted to do with today's live segment was to talk about my new Patreon. So I am super excited to have just started this Patreon. I know it's been around for a while, and I kind of been working on it in the background for, I don't know, a few months, but I finally just launched my Patreon page. And if you're not familiar with Patreon, it's a very cool website and app that, in my opinion, is very innovative. It allows content creators to kind of create a community and be supported in their artwork. It could be anything from music. I mean, there's so many different people on Patreon. It's very cool. I follow a lot of gamers. I'm a gamer myself. I love to play Animal Crossing New Horizons, so I follow a lot of streamers who play that game. So anyways, I didn't mean to randomly start talking about Animal Crossing. It's kind of my favorite right now. So yeah. Anyways, well, what I really want to do first and foremost, I just launched Patreon literally a few days ago, and I already have some patrons, and I just wanted to give them a shout out because they are amazing. So if you're watching, I just want to thank my elite patron who calls herself LaPetitePink, or Christine. And I want to thank my advanced patrons, soooo, Betsy, Tracy, and Rebecca. And my intermediate patrons, please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Amanda, Kathy, Heather, and Chiaryn. So thank you so much. I love you all. Well, I love you all anyway, everybody who's watching. So yeah, so this is fun. I feel like I'm kind of out of my element, I guess, because I don't do live streams. So anyway, I don't mean to be awkward. I'm not an awkward person. So I am wearing my Sizzle Pop Shawl. It's actually very warm here today, so I may end up taking it off at some point. But I always like to adorn myself with my knits. But this is my triangle version. This is one of my more popular shawls. So I'll kind of hold it up here. I actually just posted about this on Instagram. I originally knit a square version, which turned out a lot differently than what I had originally planned. I originally planned it to be a triangle, and then when I finished, it was kind of like, oh, what's this shape? Has that ever happened to you? If you're a designer, you don't, you plan for one thing and then it turns into something completely different. I have no idea. So, anyway, so this shawl is so much fun to knit. It's very repetitive. If you're a beginning briocher, um, I would definitely, I don't know. I mean, if I feel like if you are a new briocher or you're new to brioche knitting, it's kind of like you need to find what you really want to make and then just kind of go for it. That's always what I recommend to people. So there have been quite a few people who have knit Sizzle Pop as their first ever brioche project. So totally you can do it. But if you wanted to, you could start with something a little more simple because this shawl does have the increases and the decreases in it. So I'll kind of show you how I wear it. Most of the time I wear this as kind of a kerchief style. So I wrap it kind of around my neck like this and then kind of tuck the ends in. Oh, hi, Katie. Thank you. So yeah, I kind of wear it like this. So you can really kind of show it off. You can see my necklace is kind of like. All right. So yeah, this is how I wear it. You can also wear it kind of around. You back up a little bit. So yeah, sometimes you can wear it like over one shoulder. Sometimes it takes a lot of finessing to get it to be, you're like, oh, so fussy. So yeah, this is primarily how I wear my triangle shape shawls because I don't know, I just love the way this looks. I love the kerchief style. And I mean, you could also wear it if you like to wear, you could wear it around your shoulders, kind of like this. So sometimes I'll wear shawls more like this when I'm teaching. Because it's easier to kind of throw on and off, and it's a little cooler because it's not around my neck. Because it's like 90 degrees here today. Thank goodness for air conditioning. Am I right? Anybody else in Texas? Yeah, it's pretty hot down here. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about the weather anymore. I can't believe I'm talking about the weather. So that's what I'm wearing. And I did have a few people asking, had a few questions that they wanted me to answer or some things that they wanted me to go over during this live session. And I will definitely be doing that. I love answering questions. If you have a question, you can even type it in the chat. So if you're just joining us, feel free to ask me anything in the chat, and I'll see your lovely question, and I'll be sure to answer it if it's appropriate. So yes, I wanted to go back to Patreon because I got really distracted. I don't know. I get really easily sidetracked, especially when it's like, ooh, brioche. So just quickly about Patreon. You can find me if you go to patreon.com/knitgraffiti. So I'll be sure to put a link in the description once this goes up on my YouTube. But you'll see that I have 4 different levels of kind of supporting. So and at each level, you can see kind of what I want the community to be and what I'll be giving back. So I'm so excited. It's kind of all I'm thinking about right now is like, oh, what can I do next? What can I do for my patrons? And so it's it's just really fun. So, yeah. So anyways, that's all the plugging I'm going to do for Patreon, because let's get on to brioche. So a couple of you had some questions. I got some questions from a few people on Instagram, and I just wanted to answer those questions because I know how important it is, and I very much want to connect with all of you on not just a personal level, but just kind of showing you more of my process and more kind of behind the scenes stuff that, everybody talks about, like, oh, Instagram, you just show the really nice stuff. And it's like, well, it's just me. I'm just one person and in my business. So, this is me. I'm just a woman over here in my little tiny studio. So, yeah, this is my studio. Welcome to my studio. This is Dottie, my lovely studio assistant. You may have seen her before in photos. I love to feature her. She loves to model my knits. So yeah, I feel like we're all very matchy-matchy, like with the pinks and everything. So Dottie is wearing my Stelliferous sweater / top. So you might recognize it. It was my big birthday sweater that I released for my 40th birthday. So I just turned 40 on April 30th, which feels weird. Like, I don't really understand what being 40 means, but it happened. And so here we are. Yeah. Welcome to 40. So yeah, I have, you might see here, I have this really cute little rolling cart. You might be able to see it. It's full of some knits that I want to show you and full of yarn. So the first kind of question / request that I want to answer is from Rocio, and I really hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Please forgive me if I'm not. I do my best. But from Instagram, they messaged me, and they really wanted to know about my design process and kind of how I pick colors for my designs. So these are two things that I absolutely love talking about. And it's kind of hard to talk about one design process because it changes from design to design. I mean, it's pretty basic for most designs. I almost always start with a sketch. So I have a sketchbook that is right here. I was like, where is it? Oh, it's right here. So I have this little sketchbook, drawing book. And it's actually, I'm actually almost done with it. I need to get a new one. But yeah, so I start with sketches. So here, I'll show one to you. This is a sketch of a new shawl I'm working on. I haven't cast it on yet. But this shawl, it's going to be kind of like this. So you might know that I am a super Star Wars fan, like super Star Wars geek. And so I have recently become very obsessed with the Clone Wars, specifically Ahsoka Tano. So I'm designing a shawl inspired by her and her montrals that, she doesn't have hair. She has montrals on her head and she wears a headdress. So I want to design a shawl very much inspired by her. So I was trying to find the perfect yarn for this shawl, and I was looking and looking and having no luck at all. So I kind of put I don't know, not a call for submissions, but just kind of hey, any yarn dyers out there want to dye some yarn for me for this shawl. And I actually found the most amazing dyer. Well, she's a friend already. So you might be familiar with Shoba from Serendipitous Wool. And she custom dyed these two skeins for me that are just absolutely perfect. Yeah, I'm so excited. So you can see very, very high contrast. Hopefully you can see the color. So this one is, the colorway is Silken. So it's kind of this cloud gray white. It's very cool. And then the darker color is Dream Cloud. So if you're familiar with Ahsoka Tano, her modules are like kind of that blue, gray, and white. So yay. So I'm very, very excited about this shawl. And yeah, I'm very, very sorry. I'm like distracted by looking at the chat. I'm very excited about this shawl. I'm hoping to cast it on soon. I'm still in kind of the research and design phase of it because I know what I want it to look like and I have the yarn, but now I'm kind of thinking about, you know, what do I want to use certain stitch patterns, or do I want to just do garter stitch, or do I want to use brioche? So yeah, I'm kind of in that phase right now. So that's kind of a little sneak peek behind my design process for that shawl in particular, but it really is different from project to project. So hi, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're all here. Thanks for saying hi in the chat. So yeah, hopefully that kind of sheds some light on my process. I do love sharing sneak peeks on social media, especially on Instagram. And if you do become a patron, then I will be showing a lot more sneak peeks there, like a lot, like more than I show on Instagram. So yeah, but I'll still show a lot on Instagram for sure. So yeah, there's my Ahsoka Tano shawl. Again, Serendipitous Wool. Shoba is so amazing and I love her yarns so, so much. So I have 2 more skeins. So I have 4 skeins total. Yeah, so another question somebody had was my color choice process. So obviously my color choice for that shawl was, you know, I wanted to match Ahsoka's montrals. So that was, you know, sometimes if you have a specific color in mind, sometimes it's very hard to find unless, you know, you contact a yarn dyer and say, you know, can I have this exact color? Here's the Pantone color. But yeah, I think for other things, I'm very much drawn to very bright, vivid colors most of the time. Pink, I love pink. I'm gonna stand up for a second to give you a flash of my pants. I'm wearing my hot pink pants. I am wearing pants. I can't believe I just did that. So yeah, I love hot pink. Hot pink is my favorite. I'm trying to think. I don't have any pink wool next to me. Any pink yarn. But these are some yarns that I got recently, and unfortunately the yarn dyer is not making these anymore. But I still want to show them because they're so wild and amazing. So these are some colors from Mr. Wool. So like literally Mr. Wool. And I love his logo. His beard is yarn. So yeah, his name is Philippe and he's in Chile. But these 2 colors, like, I just want to make something with them. Just forever. This one especially with the hot pink down here. Oh my gosh. So I don't know what I'm going to make with these, but sometimes I just take them out and hold them. But with brioche especially, I've particularly wanted to go over that, like picking colors for 2-color brioche. And if it is your first time knitting brioche or 2-color brioche, then I definitely recommend choosing 2 colors that are very high in contrast. And if you want to use like a variegated or a speckled yarn, then pick a pairing with it that's not speckled, like something that's solid or semi-solid, because then it won't be as confusing, if that makes sense. So, for example, I have some yarn here from Fru Valborg, and I'm going to be casting on a sweater with this yarn very soon. I can't wait to start swatching with it. But this is actually going to be a very low contrast. And what I'm really excited, I haven't started swatching yet, but what I'm very excited about for this one is I think it's going to be like, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Not a mirror of it. Ah, I can't think of the word. I'll think of it when this is done. But it's almost like gonna be a shadow. That's what it is. A shadow. And sometimes that can be so cool with 2-color brioche, where it's such a low contrast that the color behind it looks like a shadow of it. Oh my gosh, it's just so cool. So these colors are Wonderland. I'll give a close-up of this one. Look at those speckles. Oh my gosh. And this darker color is Aubergine. Oh, it's just the best. Yeah, it's like it's aubergine. It's like eggplant. Isn't that what aubergine is? It actually looks way purple in the way more purple in the camera. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm hoping to have the sweater done by October, because I'm going to Rhinebeck. Whoop whoop. Whether Rhinebeck happens or not, I will be there. So yes. Thank you so much for your sweet compliments in the chat. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. So this is their DK weight, the Silky Yak DK. Yeah, I know the depth in Wonderland is incredible. Let me show that again. I love, like, especially this right here, like this kind of mustard color. Oh, I knew what you meant, Katie. Wonderland. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to cast these on with the Silky Yak. This is Silky Yak, and Wonderland is Cashmerino DK. So yeah, 2 different bases. So that's another thing, when you're pairing yarns for brioche, it doesn't have to be the same base. Like you could grab, oh, my necklace got caught on here. Like you could have, if you're working with sock yarn, you could grab, a single ply for one color and then applied for the other. So Katie was asking who makes the purple. It's Fru Valborg. So there's their name. When I'm done, I'll put links in the description. So here's their information. They're on Instagram, and there's their website. So yeah, so excited about this. So excited. Yeah. So those were that was the first question I kind of wanted to go over. And again, about my design process, like it really, is different from shawl to shawl. Like for my Sizzle Pop that I'm wearing, I just wanted to create this kind of chevron brioche stitch pattern. And so that was the inspiration for that. So, it wasn't based on Star Wars or, nature. It was just like, I want a chevron. So, yeah, so the next questions that I want to go over are how to wear knits. And, well, they also asked how to pair colors. This is from, make sure I got their name right, from Krista. So I showed a little bit of how to wear Sizzle Pop, and I'll show a couple of other shawls. So another shawl is my current mood shawl. I've actually been promoting this one a lot on Instagram lately. I've been seeing a lot of yarn dyers making kits for this one. So this is a rectangular wrap knit on the bias. See if I can back up a little bit, show you more. So, it's knit on the bias, meaning to get it to the stripes to be at this angle, you increase stitches at one end and then you decrease them at the other end. So you're not actually increasing or decreasing any of the stitch count in each row, but doing that makes the stripes at an angle, which looks so cool. So the yarn I used for this is Amanda Hope yarn. And so this shawl I love to wear. Yep, just like this. This is how I wear it. No, this is not how I wear it. I actually wear it kind of just like a scarf. So this is my favorite way to wear this one. And what's nice about this is you can see all the different stripes and all the different colors. That's what is so fun about this shawl. You get to see, so it uses 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn, and you get to see all of the different color combinations with it. So, there's obviously only 6, but it's still fun to see what all the different color combos look like. So you start off with, so you start off at this end and you get to see one color combo and then the next, and then you just keep going. So like this one uses 2 colors and then you switch which one's in front and which one's in back. So see how interesting that is? I think that's why brioche fascinates me so much, because you just never know what it's going to do. It's so surprising still. So this was another one that you can just wear, like an elegant wrap. You can put it on for a night out to keep you warm, maybe in the summer, maybe in the winter. Yeah. So those are a couple ways to wear that one. And I wanted to show, here's another triangle shawl. So if you do join my Patreon as an intermediate patron or above, which is the second tier, then you get a free pattern every month that I choose. And this month's free pattern is Emmy's shawl. Oh my gosh, it's so wrinkly. I just pulled it out of my dresser drawer. It's so wrinkly. I need to get my steamer out. So this one is another one that I wear. So this is actually a symmetrical top-down triangle shawl and uses 3 colors of fingering weight yarn. And it's great for brioche beginners. And I wear this one like kerchief style too. Getting hair in my face. So yeah, so you can kind of see like the border Yeah. So that's how I wear this one. And you can obviously wear this one like around your shoulders as well, kind of like I was doing with my Sizzle Pop Shawl. And if you made the larger size, you could even, do it like, what is it, Outlander style, where she like, cross it over and then tie it around in your back. Yeah, so there's that. This one kind of clashes with my outfit right now. But so this is May's free pattern if you are an intermediate patron and above. So I just put the pattern right there in Patreon and you can download it. So yeah, I used Emmy's MEB yarn. I'm not sure if she's dyeing anymore, but this is a silk and yak blend, which is so soft. I never thought yak would be so soft. So yes, thank you so much, Krista, for asking those questions. I know there are a lot of different shawls, and I think shawls, especially like a sweater, obviously, there's only really one way to wear a sweater or a hat, right? So it's really about the shawls. Sometimes it's hard to know how to wear them. So I want to show one more because this shawl is definitely my most popular shawl pattern. This is my Rebel shawl. Hopefully you can see it. This is my Rebel 2 shawl, and it's knit like a crescent shape, but the way that I blocked it, I wanted it to look like the Rebel symbol from Star Wars. So this is another Star Wars shawl, even though it doesn't like look like it. It's not like, oh wait, what's going on? Is that Star Wars? Well, I actually cast on, so when you get the pattern, it's just called Rebel, and you get 2 shawl patterns with it. You get Rebel 1 and Rebel 2. So Rebel 1, let me make sure I'm showing you the right side. Yeah, let me turn it around. So this is Rebel 1, which is the exact same shawl that I just showed you, except it's in one color brioche. So let me kind of zoom in up here. You can see the movements, the increases and the decreases. So I actually cast on Rebel 1 first when Carrie Fisher passed away. It kind of hit me hard actually, because I grew up watching Star Wars, and Princess Leia was like my I don't know, favorite action hero, superhero, whatever you want to call her. Yeah, she was so amazing. So I had this skein of typewriter by Hedgehog Fibers, and I was like, oh my gosh, it looks just like Leia's outfit in A New Hope, which is black and white with her brown hair. And so if you look at you can see it better in Rebel 2. So Rebel 2 obviously is 2-color brioche. Along the edge are these kind of brioche baubles, and were inspired by Leia's iconic hairdo. So like, her 2 buns. Yeah, so if you don't have to block it out like I did, but you can kind of see it creates that kind of Rebel symbol, like the whoosh. And so yeah, that was what I wanted to do. So this one is a little trickier to wear, but I like to wear it kind of like this. And so then you can make sure to see the ends with the border. And yeah, so this is how I wear mine. Yeah, so it's got a nice long wingspan. And so you can really see the border, which I kind of wanted to look like galactic ships. I don't know. Anyway. So I finished the trilogy for this one, and I just last year in 2020, on May 4th, because it's Star Wars Day, I released Rebel 3. So it's the same shawl, but with 3-color brioche. So it's a little harder to see the stitch pattern. Like, I think if you want the stitch pattern to really pop, I recommend knitting Rebel 2, because it'll sing. But yeah, so this is how I wear it. Whenever I meet people who have knit it, this is how they also wear it. So yeah. So there you go. Hopefully that helps. So yeah, I told you about how I picked my Rebel 1 colors. So for my Rebel 2 colors, this is also hedgehog fibers. I picked sort of this sandy color. I don't remember the names of the colorways. I should remember them, but I picked this sand color for the main color, and then this blue color, which I think is Whisper. I could be totally wrong, but I wanted him to be like Anakin and Padme, because they're like Leia's parents. Anakin was from Tatooine, and Padme is from Naboo, so it's like sand and water. That's how I picked those colors. So not very many people actually know that. So you know my secret now. So yeah, that's how you wear those. Thank you so much, Krista, for asking. And that's how I paired those colors. So yes, I could talk about colors all day long. I'm going to talk for about 20 more minutes, and then I have to go because I have to pick up my kiddos from school. They're almost done with school for the summer, which is just kind of like blowing my mind a little bit. So anyways, I need to get a drink of water if you don't mind. So there's one more question that I want to make sure that I go over. Let me get my Sizzle Pop Shawl back, because that one goes really well with my shirt. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is. I know I talk a lot about shawls. I am a total shawl addict. Like, I like to design other things. I like to design hats and sweaters, but shawls are like my favorite. They're my favorite. You can never have enough. Never have enough shawls, right? So, oh yes, thank you so much to everybody with your comments in the chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, Rebel is it's my baby. Okay, so last question. This one is from Dawn on Instagram. And she said she would like some guidance on what yarns will look like when they've been knit up. You pick a skein of yarn, right, off the shelf, and you look at it and you're like, this is amazing. And then you knit it up and it looks totally different than what you thought it would. Has that ever happened to you? I think that's what Dawn was asking, like, especially with speckled yarns and variegated yarns. I mean, with a solid yarn, you're like, what you see is what you get. But with speckled yarns and variegated yarns, sometimes the pooling can be very unpredictable. So I hear you. I think there's a lot of dyers now that actually knit up a sample of their yarn so that you can see it before you buy it, which I love. I love it when dyers do that because it's very handy, right? And honestly, with speckled and variegated yarns, they're so great for brioche knitting, because what brioche does, even one color brioche, is it breaks up the speckle and it breaks up the variegation. So let me just show you an example. And it's kind of like color theory. Like, if you ever learned real color theory, I went to art school. So I learned all about color theory. They basically it's ingrained in my soul. But different colors paired together. So, you know, if you put one color on a background and then you put the same color on a different color background, it changes what the color looks like, right? I don't know if I'm making any sense because I wish I had like a visual aid, but I do have a visual aid. So this is my Sizzle Pop Shawl, okay? So look at the yarn that I used for my main color. And that's the color that you see popping on the front, right? This is Monet by Hedgehog Fibers, okay? And I paired it with Kiss Off by Heavier Land. Okay, so it's like this deep kind of maroon color. And I knit my Pop Fizzle hat, which you might be familiar with. So I actually knit this hat before I knit Sizzle Pop. So it's the same stitch pattern. You can't see it as well because the contrast is a little lower. But I'm going to turn it inside out because this is the same Hedgehog Fibers Monet. Same exact, like literally same yarn, same dye lot as this. So you can see how different the yarn looks. It's the same exact yarn, and just how different it looks against the blue or against the maroon. Oh, bye, Katie. So that's just kind of something to think about when you're knitting brioche. You know, if you don't, like, let's say you buy this yarn like this, you know, you buy something like this and it's amazing and you love it and you knit it up together with one color and you don't like it. Well, try it with another color. It might be completely different. And sometimes you don't know what it's going to look like until you start knitting with it. I mean, honestly, and especially with brioche. But you can see how brioche really breaks up the speckles, you know, unlike just knitting something in stockinette or even garter stitch where the pooling can be kind of shocking. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah, not abrasive, but just kind of like, it's not what I wanted today. But this, you know, brioche really breaks it up. So I hope that answers your question. You know, that's another thing that I really want to start doing more on Patreon is helping my patrons pick out colors and that kind of thing. And talking more about it here on my YouTube channel as well. So just to kind of talk about my YouTube goals, for the last few years that I've had a YouTube channel, I've uploaded, you know, tutorials here and there, but I very much want to start having a lot more free content, especially when it comes to brioche and different techniques that I will link to in my patterns so that all of the links in my patterns come back to my YouTube channel. So, and I'm definitely going to start doing more videos talking about things, especially new pattern releases and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Thank you again to everybody who asked questions. It's awesome. I'm so glad that you're here and that I could answer those for you. I showed you all my yarn. I wanted to show the first pattern that I ever published. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm just kidding. I'm not really crying. So I first started publishing my independent knitting patterns in 2015. So over 6 years ago, which is kind of wild if you think about it, like, oh my gosh. But this is my first pattern I ever published. It's called Pink Graffiti. So you can kind of guess I'm knit graffiti. So I actually used to have an Etsy shop and it was called Pink Graffiti. This was back in the day when Etsy was still brand new. And So yeah, I graduated from college in 2006, and that's kind of when I opened my Etsy shop. And so that was when Etsy was still really brand new. Like you didn't even have to market yourself. You just listed things and people saw you because it was so tiny. And so this is kind of an homage to Pink Graffiti. Oh, Pink Graffiti. So this is a great beginner brioche hat. So this is one color brioche. You can see how squishy it is. And there's no increases or decreases. So it starts off with just a 1x1 brim to kind of keep it tight on your head because brioche really loves to stretch out. And then you just end with just a knit crown. And then, you know, obviously a pom-pom. So I'm just going to try it on real quick. It's my favorite hat to wear. It's super baggy. And I just love the fit of it. And I actually used, because especially when I first started designing, I didn't have money for yarn. Like I really didn't have a lot of money to spend on yarn. So I used Knit Picks yarn. This is their Wool of the Andes sport weight. So yeah, it's such an affordable yarn. And I love it because it has like the, I don't know if you can see like the yellowish color. I think it's like their coral color. It looks like a lot more pink in my video for some reason. But yeah, so this is a great beginner pattern. One color brioche in the round is a fantastic way to learn. And you don't have to worry about two different color yarns, but you can kind of get to know the actions and kind of get your hands used to the stitches that you have to do for brioche. So, Pink Graffiti. Well, I just want to thank you all so much. If anybody has any other questions, you know, especially after this is over and I've posted it to my YouTube, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I can get to your question in my next live session or even my next just regular videos that I want to upload. So I actually just worked on a video earlier today that I'll be uploading here, which is all about my background and how I got started designing, and I'll show a little bit more of my studio. So yeah, I think I'm in the video. I'm actually sitting back there. Oh yeah. So what's behind me? Wait, this way, this way. Oh. So yeah, there's the two new patterns. The kind of the pink shawl underneath will be released in the middle of June. And then the pattern on top of it will be coming in July. So coming soon. And then I'm working on right now, just before I say goodbye, I'm in the middle of a row that I need to finish. So I'm working on a shawl. No surprise there. And yeah, hopefully you can see it okay. This is actually for the Flying Needles Yarn Shop in Williamsburg, Virginia. Hi, Susan, if you're watching. That's the owner. She actually dyes. She has her own hand-dyed yarn that she sells in the shop and online called Robin's Promise. Let me show you the... Sorry, I've got my little tags. Sorry, there's like doves flying out my window. Speaking of birds. So Robin's Promise, you can see how I write the grams. I weigh it and then I write the grams on there. So yeah, I'm actually designing this. This will come out in August. And I'm teaching an exclusive class that will be virtual of this shawl. And then after the class, this pattern will be free with a yarn purchase from their shop. So yeah, their yarn is so awesome. And I'm using so it'll just be 2 skeins of yarn total for the shawl. And I'm using these two colors. Let's pretend they're my eyeballs. So this one is sort of a gray, but if you look really closely, you can see like some blues and reds, and oh my gosh, I just love this color so much. It's called Pheasant Crown. So all the names are inspired by birds and like nature. And then this phenomenal blue color that looks like lapis lazuli is called White-tailed Robin's Feather. So yeah. So gorgeous. So yeah, super high contrast, but kind of unexpected. Yeah, so those are the colors I'm using, and yeah, it's kind of addicting. Like I'm very addicted to this shawl. Yeah, it's like one of those designs that I wake up in the morning and think about. Do you have anything like that on your needles right now? I can't wait to work on that. So, yeah, I think this is a great place to end this. And I just want to thank you again so much for joining me. If you were here live, thank you so much for being here and for joining me in the chat. And thank you so much if you're watching after it's live. I really hope to do this more often because this is so much fun. So thank you again, and I'll see you later.